Employers are preparing to eliminate jobs and turn to automation. In this episode, I'm going to address Biden's $15 minimum wage law, and it will create massive loss of jobs. You'll understand why as you watch and understand this concept. So my name's Doug Andrew, and I've helped people understand how to optimize their financial assets. And many business owners and employers I've trained, entrepreneurs, these are the ones who actually go out and employ these people in America and do such a wonderful job providing goods and services. And I've noticed throughout my 4.5 decades helping people to be able to be profitable, to be able to take things from a lower level of productivity to a higher level of productivity. That's the definition of entrepreneurship. Many times we disincentivize those business owners from taking risks when we feel like we can try to benefit people in America, get their votes and so forth with initiatives such as raising the minimum wage. Now, having said that, I agree that we want to make sure that employers are fair, but this is what a lot of politicians do not understand. And unfortunately, a lot of politicians have never run a candy store before. And so they oftentimes say, hey, we want to try to get voted, get elected. Let's do something that sounds really good to this voting base. Free college tuition, forgiveness of student loans. Well, guess who's going to vote for you? Any college student out there probably. Oh, well, that sounds good. I'll vote for that person. Oh, let's raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour when some areas of the country, $10 an hour, actually buys more than $15 an hour in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so when they announce this, it may sound good, but see, politicians oftentimes do not understand the domino effect, the repercussions. So when President Biden began to announced that he was going to raise the minimum wage immediately, do you know what a lot of employers, especially between the two coasts, the East Coast and the West Coast, decided to do? They've already got plans to lay off people. They can't afford it. They are just going to switch to automation and say, enough already, I can't afford it. Now, somehow, many times tax revenuers, politicians just think, oh, come on, the employers, the higher ups have enough money. No, they don't. Most businesses operate on about a 2 or 3% profit margin. And if you raise the minimum wage, they can't afford it. So let me explain this in simple terms so that you can understand it, because raising the minimum wage sounds good on the surface, but it will cause massive loss of jobs, unemployment in this country. Mark my word. Before sharing this example with you, I've always felt like the minimum wage, if there is going to be one, that it should be regulated state by state. Here's why. I mentioned here that sometimes in the East Coast and the West Coast, cost of living is high. Washington, D.C. Do you know the San Francisco Bay Area, where I go often to speak? Many of those people shell out double to quadruple for goods and services down there. And so a minimum wage in San Francisco, because 5-bedroom home is $4.8 million. If you rent a 5-bedroom home, it's $12,000 a month, okay? And so, yeah, it makes sense. But in the Midwest, the cost of living is sometimes half or 1/4 that. So to do an across-the-board raising of the minimum wage is not really equitable. But here's the example I want to share with you, because it looks like it's going to be a federal law, and you're going to understand why I don't think that's very smart. We're going to see unemployment go up, and jobs are going to be going out the window. Let's say that you have a small business and you're in the Midwest, and $10 an hour buys as many gallons of gas, haircuts, and so forth as $20 an hour does in San Francisco. So as an employer, you're operating on a slim little 3% profit margin. And so you can afford, let's say, $100 each hour to employ people and be productive. and you would like to have 10 people employed. So at $10 an hour, they're happy as can be. I mean, they would love more, but they can buy as many gallons of gas and loaves of bread as people in San Francisco buy for $20, okay? With $10. So you can afford how many people at $10 an hour if you have $100 of discretionary money in your company? 10 people. Well, if all of a sudden, bam, minimum wage goes up to $15 and you must comply, and you're that employer, you go, I've got only $100. I can only afford 7 employees at that, and 7 times 15, what is that, 105? Yeah, that's gobbling up my profit, but I'm going to have to lay off 3 employees. This is simple, folks. This is economics. So when you just raise the minimum wage, you're going to see job losses in the 20 to 30% range. And what does that cause? Well, it causes a recession. What does that also cause to happen? If the employers try to hang on to maybe 7 or 8 of the employees, they have to come up with the money. So what do? They raise the cost of hamburgers and shakes and French fries. They raise the cost of the goods and services. And so what good did it do? You just got a raise, but it was all gobbled up because prices to live went up because of that. Hello? Is this beginning to make sense? Listen. So if this is making sense to you, please share with others so they can understand. Because, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, that sounds wonderful. Have them watch this. So share, like, post a comment, subscribe. I post an in-depth answer to a financial question almost daily on this 3-Dimensional Wealth channel. And if you click the bell, that will notify you when I do that, okay? So when we talk about this dilemma, employers all of a sudden are mandated to pay $15 an hour. Now, many already do that in the coastal cities. So if you are in the Midwest and you have that ultimatum, well, you either have to lay off maybe 20 or 30% of your people or increase the price that you're charging for goods and services, which doesn't help at the end of the day. People got a raise and they use the raise to pay more for that gasoline they're putting in their car. What good did it do, really, okay? Or else they are forced to go to automation. I've heard many employers unfortunately say, well, this is the straw that's breaking the camel's back with our company. So we're going to bite the bullet, get rid of people and just turn to automation, and we'll never hire any more people. We're just going to constantly turn to automation because they keep pricing us out of hiring people. So what did we accomplish by raising the minimum wage across the board everywhere in the country? Is this making sense? So let me share with you maybe some insights that will help you understand this concept and many others that are extremely significant that can impact you. So as you pay attention to current events and you hear what a lot of tax revenuers are wanting to do to raise money to fund initiatives, such as maybe Medicare for all or free college tuition or whatever it is, it sounds good, but it always comes at a cost. A lot of those initiatives are estimated to cost north of $100 trillion in the next decade. Do the math. That's $10 trillion a year. Do you know that's twice as much as the IRS collects in taxes in an entire year in America? Now they're going to spend 3 times that much. Where's the money going to come from? When we latch on to these ideas that maybe sound good on the surface, they're not free. And so if you want to empower yourself and make yourself immune from different ways that taxes go up and how to be able to protect yourself, I would strongly recommend you study strategies such as in my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund. Why the Laser Fund? This is my favorite financial vehicle, and the reason why many people put their money here, especially business owners, is because it's totally tax-free. This knocks the socks off of an IRA or 401k plan for your employees. But see, most employers just follow the herd and sponsor a company 401k plan until they learn about this. So whether you're an employer or an employee, you can empower yourself by reading and studying this book and making yourself immune from taxes going up and inflation, the cost of living going up because of such things as raising minimum wage, so that you're immune from taxes, inflation, and that market volatility that causes so many people to lose money on their hard-earned savings. Here's how you can claim your free copy. Go to Laserfund, Laser, fund.com. And you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, and I'll cover the rest of that. I'll pay for the book. I'll send it out to you and enjoy. There are all kinds of charts and graphs, but also on this side, there's a whole bunch of stories that will help you understand not only the concept that I've been talking about on this episode, but many, many more that you may not even be aware to ask the question. So let me give you answers and pose the questions that maybe you ought to be asking.